welcome to our launch of the Rock Talk podcast by Rockingham County, New Hampshire. My name is Autumn Newsome. I am the recruiter here at Rockingham County and your host of the Rock Talk podcast series, where we talk about anything and everything to do with Rockingham County, who we are and what we are up to. So our launch will welcome our commissioners as well as a few of our division directors, elected officials, to kind of gather an overview of what Rockingham County is all about, where we're located, what our culture's like when you work here, and anything to do with that. So please welcome Commissioner Stephen Goddu and Register elected Cathy Stacey to our podcast. Welcome, you guys.
Thank you.
Welcome.
Nice to be here.
Of course. We're happy to have you on. So in order to get started, I'd really love to dive into getting to know you guys, or at least our listeners getting to know you guys. So can you kind of talk about how long you have been in service here at the county, what your title is all about here, how you service the county, and just kind of go into things like that. Cathy, would you like to get started?
Sure. So I'm the Registry of Deeds, an elected official. I have been with the county for 30 years.
Wow.
Yes, it's been a long time, and we've done a lot of wonderful things here at the county. I used to be a title closer for a law office, and when the registrar before me decided to retire and nobody from the office wanted to run, I said, you know what, I'm going to give it a try, and I was very fortunate to be elected. So those of you who don't know, the Registry of Deeds is the land records office for the county. So anything that has to do with property in Rockingham County gets recorded at my office, as well as we were the first registry in the state of New Hampshire. So my records date back to 1629.
Wow.
Yeah, it's and I will say that I am the only registry in the state to this day that still has 100% of all my records, whether it's plans or documents, online for the public for free.
That's
for
great.
the viewing. Yes,
That's
it's wonderful. Yeah, we've done a great job. Done a great job.
Awesome. And what about you, Commissioner Goddu?
Well, I think this is a great contrast because I've been with the county for 6 months.
Right.
And I'm really enjoying my time here. The work atmosphere is fantastic. The employees and the department heads are all quality and they're easy to get along with. And I just have to say that I felt very welcome coming in here, and had enjoyed my time. This was my first elective office outside of Salem, New Hampshire, where I'm from. It was quite a task to campaign in 7 towns, and you're campaigning, what, in 37 towns?
37.
So, I mean, just the whole aspect of running and being an elected official is it's fulfilling for me.
Great.
I feel like I'm making a difference, and I really enjoy my job.
Wonderful. Well, that's good that you enjoy your job, So can you guys kind of dive into what the Registry of Deeds does, what you do in your position for, servicing the county along with you as a commissioner? What does your typical day-to-day like, and what, what might be unique about your positions that citizens who may not know too much about it, would love to know? So would you like to get started?
Okay, so a couple of things. So the Registry of Deeds, most people don't realize that I'm an agent for the Department of Revenue. So we collect transfer tax and LCHIP fees that we turn over once a month to the state, and we retain a 4% commission. So that equates to about $60 million a year to the state, which is fantastic. And my office probably brings in about anywhere from $4 to $7 million in revenues for the county. Again, one of the things that's interesting about my office is I have all the provincial records because we used to be part of Norfolk County, Massachusetts. And so all those original documents are in my office. We have restored, utilizing what we call the surcharge fund that we have. It's a $2 surcharge on every document that gets recorded, and that has specific uses that we can use the money for, and what we've been using it for is towards restoration of the ancient books. And so we have restored currently approximately 450 books, and we still have another 470 to do. It's quite expensive.
Quite the
obviously.
project, yeah.
Yeah, it is. And, but the other thing is we are a direct link with the assessor's offices for all 37 communities. So what ends up happening is every day we send what's called a transfer to each assessor within the county to tell them any type of transaction that happened within their individual town. So we've been very fortunate. Years ago when I first came on board, we did all that by hand.
Oh,
So all that
that's
was
a
done
task.
once a month, and we would give them copies on aperture cards. Now it's a daily data stream to each of those communities, as well as we also partnered with, again, Department of Revenue, so that for taxing purposes and for knowledge of, they ran into an issue when 93 was getting resurfaced and they were widening the road, and people were transferring properties back and forth to avoid condemnation. So one of the things we did was we did a program with UNH, the T-squared program, mosaic mapping, so that we send every day as well information on every deed that gets recorded. It goes to the Department of Revenue so that they can change. They will know exactly who owns what. So it will help if we have another, tornado come through. So you can map it out and you can have instantaneous information for FEMA to get money into New Hampshire.
Every time I talk to you, I learn so much more about the Registry of Deeds. It's all so interesting.
It really is.
Thank you. What about you, Commissioner Goddu?
Well, running for office the first time and introducing myself as a candidate for county commissioner, the most consistent question that I got was, what's a county commissioner?
Right.
What do you do? I didn't even know that job existed. Why are we even voting for it? So I've learned a lot in the past 6 months of what county commissioner does. But essentially, we are the board of directors for the government of Rockingham County and each of the departments that are under our scope. I mean, those departments include the Register of Deeds, the sheriff, the county attorney, all of whom the heads of those departments are elected officials. And then it also includes corrections department and IT and maintenance and finance. So our scope is really county-wide to make all of the policy decisions and financial decisions to operate this big, well, it's not big government, I suppose, but it's 500 employees. It's really business management. I've been in business for myself for, I don't want to say how long, at least 25 years. And as a self-employed person, I have to do every aspect of my company. Everything falls under so I have to be a jack of all trades, which I am. And it's a perfect fit for me to be here in the county, and I'm diving into every single department and just learning. And I took a tour of the jail. That was enlightening experience.
I have too taken a tour of the jail, and I was like, wow, I've never been in one before.
That was how I felt, and I thought to myself, I better be good.
That's great. Good.
So yeah, it's a fun job.
Good. All right. So switching gears a little bit, I'd love to get our listeners to know a little bit more about Rockingham County itself. We have all these departments and divisions, but we are also a wonderful place to live. So can I ask, did you both grow up in Rockingham County? If you didn't, what pulled you to move here? What pulled you to stay if you did grow up here? So let's dive into that a little bit.
So I'm a native. I grew up in Salem and have remained in Rockingham County, in Salem, no less. I actually, have moved into a couple of different houses, but now I'm living in my home that I grew up in. It's I have to say, Salem, it's interesting because Salem people think it's a city, it's a big place, but I can tell you this, it's a small town.
Right.
When you've grown up there and you've lived there, it's always the same people you see, because there's a lot of people who have remained in Salem. But Rockingham County, the one thing about living, even though we're in Southern New Hampshire, we have the best of both worlds. We have the seacoast and we have the mountains. I mean, and who doesn't love both?
Right.
Right? I mean, it's the best of both worlds. Just think that there's so many things that are available to the people in Rockingham County, whether it's, the different things at the seacoast, different, you have so many different areas and a lot to offer, shops, things like that. And, I just have never wanted to move.
It
Quite honestly.
truly is a wonderful place to live, and you're very right. We do have the best of both worlds. We have, the kind of a city life if you want that. We have mountains, we have lakes, we have the beach. So definitely all sorts of different places to go. What about you, Commissioner Goddu?
I grew up in Haverhill.
Okay.
And moved all the way to Salem, New Hampshire. So I wouldn't call that world travel. But once we got married, my wife grew up in Sandown, New Hampshire, and she said, I want to live in New Hampshire. And I didn't really know why. It was just the place I went to get free tax-free goods, going up, would go to Plasto or, but I agreed. And we got a good value for our property when we were looking for a property in Haverhill, just because that's where I was from, and compared that to what we were going to get in Salem, New Hampshire. I think we got a good value for good bang for our buck. We got a little bit more land. It was, so, and we chose Salem. A lot of our choice was the educational system because we were young, planning on having kids, actually had kids already. And we're thinking, well, what's the school system are they going to go into? It's a fantastic school system. And truly, it was one of the best decisions that I made, that my wife made. and I'm thrilled to be a resident of Salem. I've been there now for 26 years.
That's great.
And no intentions of moving. We love it there. As far as I'm concerned, it's the greatest place in the world to live. And that's how I feel about it. And my goal in being a part of the government is to keep it that way.
Right.
I even use that kind of as a slogan. I mean, New Hampshire is the best state in the union to live in.
Absolutely.
It's even officially rated that way.
Great.
And Rockingham County is really the best place in New Hampshire. We've got everything right here.
Right. Yeah.
We've got the seacoast, Portsmouth. You like that kind of metro kind of feel. Salem has every store that you could possibly want, close by, lots of restaurants, and then you don't have to go very far to be like kind of in the wilderness even.
Right. A lot of outdoor activities available.
Right.
And I think being so close to Boston too, because so many people are attracted to the nightlife and the things that go on, in Boston, so that anywhere in Rockingham County, you're within an hour or so of Boston.
And the proximity to Boston is something that I've taken a lot of advantage of in my business life. I have clients that are in Boston. I can be downtown Boston from 45 minutes from my house, as long as it's not a traffic time.
Right.
Now, we don't need to do that as much as we used to. I'm able to work from home particularly efficiently, but when I need to, I'm right there. In fact, we're going on a dinner cruise in Boston in a couple of weeks.
Oh, exciting. Very
and
nice.
it's like, it's a convenient place to go to.
Sure.
Right. You truly do have the best of many worlds, when you live in Rockingham County. And if you can't find it here, it is definitely very local. You know, just within a 30-minute, 45-minute drive, you've got whole new scenery.
That's right. Yeah.
Agreed.
Now, I know that you are both in a very public service type of position. So and I know that you love where you live. So why public service where you live? What had pulled you to really get involved in the community and continue your service specifically in Rockingham County? I know that you have both echoed that you love where you live, and is that kind of what had pulled you to want to truly get involved in your community to the point of servicing the public in a elected position?
So I will tell you that I learned about public service from my parents. My parents were very, very involved in Salem, whether they were the first people to bring forth the Salem Rams boosters in Salem. They were in the Lions Club, the Masons, Eastern Star. They really showed me the value of being involved in your community. And so that's one of the things, obviously I've been involved in a lot of different things within my community. I've also been an educator. And so I find it challenging to be able to sit down with people and try to explain to them what we can do at the registry and what we can't do, what we're allowed to do and what we're not allowed to do. But I love to deal with the public. And, it's working at the registry, it's like a big puzzle, right? When you're talking about title work, it's a puzzle. And if you can help people and help them to find what they need, sometimes they don't really know what they're looking for, but you're able to help them to find what they need. And I enjoy that.
Live free or die. Death is not the worst of evils. When I watch what goes on in government, I got very aggravated, and when I was in Haverhill, I felt like my hands were tied because it was a big city and it was big government. I had no access to the politicians that might have influence over what was going on. I felt really as an outsider. When I came to New Hampshire, I realized that these are small towns. I just need to show up. And you want to participate and you want to contribute, all you have to do is show up. You get to see every presidential candidate without having to donate a dime.
Right.
I mean, and we're fortunate because we're first in the nation here. But I was able to get involved and potentially, and I think in a positive way, have made a difference in the community. I got involved at first. My first real launch and why I'm hitting these things. This is the Italian in me. The first real launch to my interest in politics was my taxes went up. Like, it was spiked one year. And I was angry. And I don't want to be one of those people who just sits and complains. I decided I was going to do something about it. So I ran. And I lost. And then I ran again. And then I got elected. So it was I do it because I really think that I'm making a difference. I've got 3 grandkids. My daughter just had twins a month ago.
Oh, that's
They are
great.
so cute. And I'm doing it for them. I want them to get the wonderful place to live as I have had,
So switching gears a little bit, I'd love to kind of talk about actually something that I kind of just mentioned is, what do we truly do for our citizens here at the county? How I know you had mentioned that you service all of the public regardless, and then you, Commissioner Goddu, oversee projects and along with the other commissioners in order to, better our communities and better the work life here at Rockingham County. So I guess my question for you guys is, can you dive a little bit more into, how your, departments, for lack of a better word, kind of service the communities, what specific, ways in which you have in order for citizens to get more involved and connected with us?
So what I would say to that, outside of the purpose of the daily transfers to the assessors, which really does help the people so that we know what's happening, and it helps with the taxing portion of the town, people come, as I said, we have a lot of people come to the office. And one of the things that I've done over the years is really changed out technology in my office to benefit the public. So to make it easier for them to not, number one, have to come to my office, right, to get copies. There was a time when you could only come to my office and do your research, right? There was nothing online. You couldn't get copies, any of that. You had to physically come to the office, whether it was Exeter or it was Brentwood. Over the years, I've put in a computer system that now allows searching on the web. They can view everything for free. If they want a copy, they can download a copy. It's $1 a page, same as it would be if they downloaded it, if they came to the office to get a copy, which to me is convenience. It really is convenient for the public. We have a huge amount of people who utilize that. The other thing that my office that I offer is called Property Fraud Alert. And it's a free service to anybody in the county. And I would suggest anybody who's out there listening to this podcast, go to my website. On the main menu screen, you'll see at the bottom of the screen, it talks about Property Fraud Alert. And you can sign up for that. And you can either sign up for an email or a text message or a phone call. And basically, if something gets recorded under your name, you will know instantaneously because we will let you know, and we will give you the book and page number for you to look at that. That's a great service for the public.
It's very interesting.
Yeah, I would compare it to what people call, what was it, LifeLock or things like that. They're paying hundreds of dollars for. Well, you're not paying anything for it. If you own property in Rockingham County and you sign up and something gets recorded under your name, you're going to know about it, and you can either come to the office and look at it or look at it online. So that trying to obviously circumvent or get ahead of if there's any issues that are happening. I've been involved in several pieces of legislation that affect the Registry of Deeds, in particular the public, so that if somebody tries to put a fraudulent lien against you, we have changed the way that they are indexed so that the person's name is not in the index at all, and only the person who's recording. Because believe it or not, we have a lot of people who, what we call paper terrorism, they don't like what somebody's doing, so they come to my office, they want to put a lien against the person. And that was prompted because some years ago, and I won't mention the gentleman's name who was doing tons of it, but he actually tagged Rockingham County Sheriff's Department, and it cost Rockingham County almost $9,000 to defend the suit and get rid of it, get it redacted from my office. And I said, "Yep, that's it. We got to figure out what we're going to do." And I helped draft some legislation to protect homeowners, people who own property, from this type of attack. So, that's some of the things that we do. Obviously, people come to the office, we help them on a daily basis. We're here because we want to protect the record so that if somebody wants to sell their property, the last thing you want to hear is, "Oh, we can't find the title to your property. Oh, we didn't do a good job in protecting the records or having backups," and so on and so forth. Well, we've done that, and we've done it very well. So, to protect it so that people know that if they want to sell their property or refinance their property, that they're going to be able to have the confidence to know that the Registry of Deeds has all that documentation permanently stored.
Right. And on to, your project of ensuring that all of those historical books are up and running online, which is a huge project, but that is going to be so, beneficial once 100% of it is on there. So
Sure.
That's great. Good. What about you, Commissioner Goddu?
Well, I don't have LifeLock, and so now I'm going to sign up for
Right.
this
Please
program. That's fantastic because I hear that guy on TV that always says, "I can steal your house."
Right.
So this would protect me against knowing that happening.
Yeah.
So what else do we do for the citizens? It's a good question, because one of the questions that I asked when I first got involved is, why do we have a nursing home? So the nursing home, the most vulnerable in our community are the older people who need all of a sudden a huge expense to take care of their needs towards the end of their life. And nursing home care is really expensive. We're able to operate this nursing home because of the way the government runs at mostly Medicaid prices. We have very few private pay, although private pay people ought to want to come here because it's a 5-star rated nursing facility.
Yep.
So, it's not free, but it is a great facility, and we have a rock star who is running it, Jason Smith. My dealing with him tells me that he's got to be a wonderful guy to work for. Reasonable, friendly, easy to talk to, right from the get-go. Even when I've had controversial questions, he's very easy to work with, and I would think anybody would want to work there. So, in addition to the nursing home, then there are the county attorney. We want criminals prosecuted.
Absolutely.
They have, that's important to the whole community of Rockingham County. The sheriff's office, we have a fantastic sheriff that is doing a wonderful job helping out as backup for a lot of the smaller towns, especially the smaller towns don't have enough people like on at night and at different times, and they're the automatic backup. And he's gone further than that and put together a drug task force that's reducing the trafficking of fentanyl that's coming through, and he, again, doing a great job there. And then there's the corrections department. So we need that facility. And then we have the normal business of the financial aspects and maintenance, building maintenance of what we have going on here. But those are the areas I think where we service the community the best.
Yeah. Absolutely. And, in those areas like the financial and the, engineering, oh, sorry, their title just changed to facilities operations.
Right.
Yes.
Right.
They keep us running, they keep us in check, really, so that we can service our community better through those different, operations that we have going on. Definitely are very lucky to, have the setup and the community that we have here, and the culture that we have here is very understanding, very progressive culture. We have remained a very progressive county, specifically within the last few years. So I'm excited to continue that, with everybody's service that we have here. I guess in order to kind of wrap this podcast up, I'd love to dive into, how our citizens can get more involved with us, and how our employees can get more involved in the community. So can you go into, the areas in which citizens and employees here at Rockingham County can get more involved with us, perhaps through attending board meetings or, volunteering on a town or school board or something along those lines? I guess, what are your favorite ways that you like to see citizens and employees get involved in the community of Rockingham County?
Well, obviously, I think local involvement is key to anybody. A lot of people kind of shy away. They don't want to get involved in a local community, which is unfortunate, because I think that everybody brings something special to the table. And until you get to that table, you don't really know what it is. But I will say that when we're talking about Rockingham County right now, we have a group that's doing an Alzheimer's walk. We have another group that's collecting food, and I think that you'll see throughout the year, there's a lot of things like that the county employees get involved in. And as far as public goes, I think I would like to see more public involvement. I know that Commissioner Goddu was instrumental in getting the YouTube videos for the commissioners meeting, which I think is important to see. So people, a lot of people who say they don't know what county government is or what we do, it gives them an opportunity, right, to participate, to look to participate.
What do you think?
Volunteering is really something that everybody ought to participate in. My grandfather always used to say, you got to do a little bit of charity regularly. It's good for your soul. And people should step up. It's not that difficult, to get involved in the community, especially in New Hampshire, because everyone's open to bringing in new people, and there's no real barrier. The barrier is you, and just showing up. So, for instance, you make a good point. It was very difficult for anybody to even watch or know what was going on in the county government before I came on board, until we started recording the commissioners' meetings so that people can view it when they want to. We meet in the morning, people are working, and so now it's available on YouTube for them to watch. Show up at your Board of Selectmen meeting. Pay attention to what's going on. Figure out what is, what motivates you. What's that little niche, like, that something about, that you can be helpful to the community, whether it's recreation or finance or some other specific technology, maybe that you can do something that, how come they're not doing this? Well, because you didn't get up there and offer your services to explain it, right, and to, right, to bring up the technology. So I encourage all citizens to get involved in the town government, county government, to get involved, because first of all, it's a lot of fun. I have a ball doing it.
Yep.
I really do enjoy it.
That's good. And on that, it doesn't even have to go to the point of, being on a board of some sort or attending the meetings in person. We have platforms such as our Instagram and our Facebook and our LinkedIn and this podcast, where people are able to kind of follow us and keep tabs on what we're doing, so that they're well informed of what is happening where they live, which is such an important thing to do. But even further, allowing citizens to shop locally at your mom and pop restaurant, go to your mom and pop restaurants, enjoy the community that you live in, because it really does benefit everybody. At the end of the day, when you truly enjoy where you live and and support your community in those endeavors. And if you're feeling up to it, absolutely join a board of some sort, because they're always looking for new opinions and new progressiveness to kind of continue moving forward. But I think that just about wraps up our conversation. I appreciate you both so much for coming onto this podcast. For our listeners, you can find us, like I said, on social media: Facebook, Instagram, LinkedIn, YouTube, as well as this podcast on Spotify and Apple Music. Once we launch completely, we hope to bring out new podcast episodes once every month. So you can keep tabs and keep following us on what we're up to. As always, we are always looking for new faces to join our team. So please keep an eye on our job opportunities webpage, as we are always, as the recruiter, looking for new, people to help support our mission and servicing our community. You can keep tabs on us on our website as well, rockinghamcountynh.org. And otherwise, all of these links will be provided to our listeners in the show notes, that you have ease of access and can go anywhere you'd like to check us out. But otherwise, thank you both so much for joining us on today's podcast. It's been wonderful to have you.
Thank you.